there, welcome to another Team Clueless Battle Report. Nick, what are we playing today?
Apocalypse today!
Okay, so I got this on my birthday, last year. I mean, my 29th birthday.
That was more than a year ago then.
Maybe a year and a day, something like that. So we're giving it a try. We're having a bigger game at my factory in a couple of weeks with 6 players, which is going to be 750 points. But Nick and I decided that we're playing some other games today, and we thought we'd get a little practice game in. So we're playing 175 points. It's not a very big game. We're doing it on a standard 6x4 table, which we have set up here. Excuse the command cards that are sitting on the table, so you can see we have set up. Quite a terrain-heavy game for Apocalypse, but it looks like a nice table, so we like it. We have done the old Apocalypse way of choosing how to set up the table. So we set up the table, we put the objectives down. We have one there, one over by that really cool crane, one here, one down there by the statue,
one around the back of the building over there,
one down here, and one hiding. Here, we've got some helpers today. One of Nick's daughters down there. The other will be helping me. There she is, over there. And so the way we set up the table, put the objectives down, and then we've rolled a scatter dice in the centre of the table, which is there. And that arrow denotes the line across the centre of the table. So we've rolled it, and you can see where I've placed those 2 dice. That is the table line that we are working on. We have rolled for setup zones. I have chosen to go over here. We basically set up like we do in 40K, and we have to be 12 inches away from the centre line. So the way the mission works that we're doing here, it's the basic Apocalypse mission. So we generate command assets for killing the opposing warlords. And then what else do? We get a victory point for controlling each objective at the end of our turn. I'm going to go through a couple of Apocalypse rules very quickly for those who are watching. If you haven't played Apocalypse, it's very similar to the old Epic rule set. It uses new data sheets for your 40k models. You wound, each weapon has a statistic for wounding basically infantry and monsters stroke vehicles. So you roll that, then you put counters down. The biggest and I think best thing about the game is that you don't remove models until the end of the turn, so everybody gets to use all of their models in a turn, and then you make different saving throws depending on how many markers you've got down next to you. You'll notice as we're playing there'll be various markers down, and then at the end of the turn you roll saves for each of your blast markers you've taken, and depending on the size of the blast marker you roll either a d6 or a d12 against your saving throw. So say if you've got a 6+ save, it's not bad on a d12, slightly over 50%, but on a d6 it's pretty poor. So at the end of each turn you then remove models, and then you start again for the next turn with all the models you've got left. So reasonably simple. We'll go into a bit more of the rules as we play, and we'll give you our feelings on it at the end. So this is my army. I have bought the Blood Angels today. In Apocalypse you have to sort your army out into formations. So I have 4 formations. The idea of formations is it makes the game quicker and easier to play because you do alternating activation. So I move and attack with one of my formations, then Nick does the same with one of his, and so on and so forth. But there are certain rules put in place to encourage you to keep your formation together and to have it all doing the same thing. So I'll go through my different formations. I have a flyer formation, which consists of these 2 flyers. Thank you, Leah. Then I have a heavy formation at the back, which is the Knight. Then I have a tank formation, which is a Vindicator Laser Destroyer. We've got a Rhino Command Tank, a Land Raider Command Tank, and 2 Whirlwinds. And then we have my Warlord down here, or War Master they're called, which is Mephiston. We've got some Terminators, some Sanguinary Guard, a big squad of Death Company, and a Land Raider Crusader for the Death Company, and Mephiston to ride around in. And they are my 4 formations. If you have a character leading your formations, you get to designate them as a warlord. So I have one warlord down here, which is Mephiston, who is also my war master. And then my Land Raider Command Tank, because it is a character, is also a warlord. So they generate the extra command cards, which are kind of like stratagems. You draw them from a deck, and you get 1 each turn always, and then you get 1 more for every warlord that is still alive. Because characters are quite easy to kill, you expect your warlords to die as you go through the game. And remember, warlords are slightly different than in 40k because you have a warlord per detachment if you have a character. Let's spin round over to Nick and give him the camera.
Just before we go through them, I'm quite impressed by Leah's pointing out of the exact units.
I know, she knows what she's doing.
Considering I don't play Blood Angels, girl.
Well,
what are you teaching my daughter?
A secret Blood Angels fan, like everybody.
I am. I would like to play my Space Marines Blood Angels, but yours are.
Okay, now get it wrong this time, Leah.
Right. My army, I have got 5 different detachments in my army.
Ooh.
The main one, first one is my Super Heavy Stomper. by himself.
She pointed at the wrong one.
You're no daughter of mine. We then have a fast attack detachment where I've got my war trike, which will hopefully be finished painting when we play our game. We have got a dragster.
Not this game, by the way.
Not this game. No,
For the
next game. Close. We have got a other vehicle, booster blaster, and we've got 3 Deathcopters, helicopters there. There we go. We've got 3 Deathcopters. That is 1 detachment there. We have got a heavy detachment where, well done, Leah, you're pointing to all these nice guns.
Now, hold on. If she points to it and then you say it, that's no test.
We have got 3 guns which are the tractor cannons and 3 guns which are smasher cannons.
Nice.
We have got 10 looters in a long line. Yeah, well done. Yeah, I'm just hinting to it. And we have a big mech with a shock attack gun. Yeah, close enough. Halfway between.
I can see the blood going there.
We have then got 3 vehicles with death rollers. We have got 2 which are bonebreaker battle wagons. So they are an ARG case, so they're not open topped. And we have 1 which is a battle wagon with a death roller on it. All have got a cannon on them. We then have the heavy detachment, which of course is led by Gazzy.
He's a bit small, Nick. I mean, when this video comes out, there might be a much bigger one for people to get.
How long are you waiting until this video?
Oh, well, you know me.
And then we've got 2 units of 6 mega knobs in each. We have got the Death Dread with a couple of extra dread saws. And then lastly, we have got it's a unit of 5 knobs, and then the knob with a wild banner is a separate unit.
Okay, he's like an elite.
Yes, I believe he gives, if I remember correctly, I think it's +1 to hit things in the unit or something.
I'll be shooting him.
And that is 175 points of Orks.
Nice.
That's a lot for the points. But right, let's get to setup.
Okay, you join us after setup. Excuse the dice trays on the table. You forgot to do our setup video. So you can see I've set up over here. I've got my flyers there. My heavy fire detachment is over here. You can see this is my commander, so the warlord for that particular detachment, and all the other units in it are within 12 of it. I'm set up down here, and my knight is there. I have left the other parts of this detachment. They are either inside the tank or they're off the table in reserve. Nick is set up over there. He's got his 3 battle wagons with Mega Knobs and Gazzy inside. He's got
Mega Knobs, Gazzy, and Knobs inside.
He's got all his shooting detachment, basically arrayed in that building. They basically occupy the building, which gives certain rules to them. Then he's got his Stomper squeezed in over here. We realise that probably too much terrain to play Apocalypse. So when we play our giant game, we're going to cut down on terrain, and then he's got his fast detachment coming around the wing over here. Nick has initiative for the first turn, so he gets to basically use the first unit. You join us at the end of our first turn of Apocalypse. It was interesting to say the least. We learnt quite a lot about what units can do what, how bad Nick is at rolling to wound on a D12. Interesting things like that. Okay, so we're getting into the morale phase now. So what's happened is we've each taken turns of each of our units. We've put blast markers down so you can see units get placed next to them, that kind of like the explosion marker. They'll get a large blast marker, or if I go to something that's got a small on it, you can see down here, he has a large and a small. So you get to the morale phase and the damage phase, and you go around the table and you roll saves for your units. And you roll the saves on a D6 if they've got a large blast marker, and you roll the saves on a D12 if they've got a small blast marker. So we've already been around the table and rolled all of those saves for all of our units and placed damage markers where appropriate. So down here you can see Nick had a save to make on a D6 with his Deathcopter unit because he has 1 large blast marker. They've got an 8+ save, so he didn't even roll because you can't get an 8 on a 6. So we have placed a wound marker next to them. But at this point, you don't remove the blast markers yet because we have to do morale. I'll just go and show you some of the others. So this knight here had 4 large blasts, so he had to make 4 saves on a D6. He passed 2 of them, so he has 2 wounds taken. The difference in the wound markers, this one is just a standard wound, and then let's find something that is this one here. He has taken a wound, but we put it that way up to show that he has suffered at least half of his wounds, which gives him -1 attack and -1 to hit with heavy weapons when you're taking that. So it's the way of tracking if you take an attritional damage. Okay, so now we're going to do the morale section. We thought we would do this on camera and remove models so you can get a bit more of an idea of what's happening. So in the morale phase, you've left all of your blast markers present. So you have to go round, and for every unit that has any blast markers, you make a leadership test. So it's to represent the fact if they've been shot at all, even if they've made their saves, they're still going to suffer morale, possibly. So you roll a d6, you add the amount of blast markers you have. Doesn't matter if they're big or they're small. If you roll more than your leadership total, then you suffer another wound. And at that point, you take away the blast markers. So Nick's going to do his first. So, Nick, what have you got?
Right, I shall start over here and work my way around. So
Yep.
we have got the battle wagon. It's one of the gun ones.
Yep.
Apologies, sis, because it was the first time I'm playing me.
Yeah, that's it. It just gives you an idea, because the morale phase seems quite important, and it's probably one of the more
So
complicated
he's got
phases.
2 blast markers.
Yep.
One big, one small, which obviously doesn't matter for this.
Yep.
So
And what's his leadership?
his leadership is 5.
So Nick adds this. He's rolled a 5. He adds 2 to it, so he takes another wound on that unit.
So he's taken 2 wounds now, so that puts him.
No, right, and at that point you take away the blast markers.
Yes, so that is that and that taken away.
Yep.
I shall put them away there for the moment. Right.
So next battle wagon along.
This one is the same. He's only got 1 blast marker.
Oh, he takes a wound as well.
So he's taken 2 wounds.
So this phase is basically here to add to the attrition of the game. It's to make it go a bit quicker, helps you kill stuff.
This battle wagon has a chance of being destroyed.
So it has 2 blast markers, but it's taken 2 wounds. It failed both of its saves.
5.
3, 4, 5. It's okay, I think.
It's
Damn it, that's the one I wanted
Yes.
him to fail. He failed to do so.
Gasgul was still in a vehicle.
Yeah, that's the important one.
Right, we shall move on to the Death Dread.
So the Death Dread is within 6 inches of this stomper here, this massive edifice,
one
which
block.
lets him re-roll the dice with Orks nearby, because it's such a massive, imposing effigy of Gork or
And he has a
Mork.
leadership of 5.
Okie doke.
We'd have to check Gasgul actually, because I don't know whether Gasgul has a special ability, but
He's in the vehicle, so I don't think
yeah,
it
so 1, 5.
So he's okay.
Fine.
So the Stomper itself has got, I did a number on this Stomper. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blast markers there. Nick has added a wound to it, so it obviously doesn't have that much leadership.
His leadership is 6.
So this Stomper has taken a lot of
6.
damage.
It
6 of his 8 wounds. Okay, back here.
This guy over here.
So this little guy on the end, I thought I'd done enough to kill. He has a 10 plus save, and he had to make 1 10 plus on a d12. He made it though to not die. So Nick's going to have another go at killing him here. 2 blast markers. What's the leadership of the Gretchens?
He's done.
He's done. So
Leadership is 4.
that squad there is dead because they have taken their wounds.
Yeah.
Up here, I dealt
This
enough
lot is
wounds
actually all
to
dead.
the shock attack gun and to the looters to remove them all.
Basically, like most characters in this only have 1 wound,
Yeah.
so he failed a save with 1 blast marker, died. This obviously they had 2 big blast markers that for the 10 looters only 2 wounds. There was no save to make because
Yeah.
it was more than a 6 plus, so they just died.
The way the game works, if you really want to kill stuff, put large blast markers on them, and a lot of things just won't get a save. So there's no rolling involved. It doesn't slow the game down. You just get to the end and go, they're dead. So we just left them there to show you that they were there. So they're removed, and it also demonstrates that characters are really flimsy if they're outside of vehicles or visible. You get -1 to shoot them if they're not the closest enemy. But other than that, they're just fair game, and they got 1 wound. So pretty easy.
Yeah.
I fired a whirlwind, killed the shock attack gun.
Right,
Okay,
the,
over to here we have
Deathcopters.
Deathcopters.
They have a leadership of 4. Roll the 1s.
They're okay.
Oh.
1's auto pass. And lastly, I really want Nick to fail this one. He gets to re-roll it because of the Stomper.
And he's got 2 blast markers, hasn't
He has 2. What's his leadership?
Oh. His leadership is 5.
So I really want Nick to roll a 4 or more here.
Yes, he survives.
Damn it! Really needed that to die. So now I'm gonna pass the camera over to Nick so I can pick up my rule book. Sorry for the jostling around.
Unfortunately,
Let's see.
with rule books and that, we're not knowing the rules like we do
Yeah,
in
we
40K.
don't
We are
know our leadership characteristics yet. I suspect
Another-
all Space Marines will be
another
very
wound
similar.
on this guy will be nice because that will put him to
It
over
would
half.
put him to half. Okay, he has leadership of 7 though, and he has a good total of 4 there though. Oh, he's okay.
No!
He's okay. Nick didn't wound very many of mine.
No, unfortunately, I really failed to hit on my turn. We
Yeah.
never actually really went through what did what actually on the turn, did we?
Oh no, we'll go through that in a minute, shall we? What shot what is such a whirlwind of learning rules and things like that. So this is a Vindicator pattern laser destroyer, my own creation of the Forge World model. He has leadership 6, so anything got a 6 on here, we're okay. Space Marines, as their inherent army kind of like ability, get to re-roll leadership, which when you first read it in the rulebook, you assume leadership is useless, like it is in most games. Actually, in this game, leadership seems really important.
Yes.
So lastly,
Is
we
it?
have the flyer over here. He's going to be okay with a 5 because he only had one wound
bluff.
on him as well. Okay, so that is that. So what actually happened during the turn?
I failed to hit everything.
Yeah, you pushed up into the
So
centre with your
as
stuff.
you can see, I had lots of blast markers on me. I had to roll, and Cuddy obviously didn't have a lot.
I'm a much more shooty army though.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I pushed up. My battle wagons, all 3 pushed up. They've got a cannon on. We've shot at. I can't remember what I shot at, but I missed at everything. I think it was that actually. It was the Land Raider or.
While you're pointing down here, I think this was where I did most of my damage. This squad down here.
When you do moving, it's not moving like I didn't move one battle wagon. You moved the entire detachment as well.
Yeah.
So I had to move all. When you activate, I activated all 3 battle wagons at the same time.
So it's got lots of counterplay. So you can wait for the enemy to activate a unit because you think he's going to move it closer.
As
your guns are in
I
range.
played a card, one of the cards in my turn. I got to change one of my command things that I put down to a. That's what did the damage.
That's what did the damage. Now we remember.
I got to do change one of my orcs to an assault, so my Death Dread got to double move. My stopper was out of range. But
point the camera down here. So we each got 4 of our special stratagem cards at the start of the game. 2 of them that I drew were these. You get a deck of 30, so the chances of drawing both of these are unlikely. But I got an orbital barrage and an orbital strike, which I hit against Nick's battle wagons and the stuff around them, and got lots of damage through. So that's how a lot of the extra damage came about. Actually,
you hit all 3 battle wagons twice. The Met Gun and the Death Dread. And also, you notice with the card, one said Apocalypse, one said Adaptus Astartes.
Yeah.
Apocalypse you can put in is in general.
Yeah, they're kind of like keys to what you can put in. You're supposed to make a deck of 30, which is actually quite difficult because there aren't that many cards. So down here, this is the squad I wanted to show you that did the most of my damage. So this guy is a command Land Raider. So he gives out like a captain, re-roll 1s to hit. I'd used the stand and shoot order, aimed fire, which gives you +1 to hit. So everything here is hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s, which in Apocalypse seems rare. There aren't that many re-rolls. And this is what did the damage. My command Rhino has a 1-use orbital barrage, which I fired at the Stomper, and it's a destroyer weapon. Destroyer weapons deal double damage to stuff. The Whirlwinds did a right number on Nick's looters and things over there. So I think that was kind of like the key along with the orbital barrages.
Yeah, you did a real big number over there. That's obviously...
So, victory points. So the way this game works is there are 2 kind of objectives. The first is if you kill the enemy characters that are warlords. So I've killed one of Nick's, which is his shock attack gun over there. I get an additional card next turn. So there's a slight bonus for killing characters. If you kill the opposing War Master, which is either Gazgul or Mephiston in this case, you get D3 additional cards. But the way victory points work is, at the end of each turn, if a player controls more objectives than the enemies, they gain a victory point. So at the minute I control, because I put my flyers into hover, I control that one and that one. And I control this one down here. While Nick controls this one here. This one hiding down here.
And one in the building out here.
And one in his building. You can just see it through the window back there. So it's a draw this turn, so nobody gains a victory point. This is not a high victory points game. This is the most basic of missions we can do.
We just want to learn the rules ready for our big game.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know we're both on the same side, so if we know the rules,
Yeah.
we can cheat. I mean, not cheat.
Andy and Mark and that are going to be watching this, so we should really tell them wrong rules and make them play badly. Okay, so we're going to move on to turn 2 in a minute. We're going to clear up the battlefield a bit, remove all the tokens and stuff. It's getting used to the tokens, I think, is one of the main things.
D6s then D12.
Yeah. But it seems to be working quite well. It's very streamlined. It's... One of the things I really like is when I'm shooting Nick, I don't need to wait for him to roll saves. So you can see in a big game where you could both act at the same time because you don't need the opponent to help you do stuff.
If we knew the rules fluently, like we do in 40K, that would have been 10 minutes.
Oh yeah,
minutes.
the looking up of stuff. I think I made maybe 20 shots in total. So if I knew all those stats, that would have taken no time at all. But anyway, we shall move on. See you in a minute. You join us at the end of turn 2. So for this phase, we have done all the morale and everything, and we're just going to tell you what happened during that turn.
We removed a lot of stuff.
We did. So first thing you'll notice is Nick's Stomper is missing. So he charged it all the way forward, ran around all of my stuff down here with his Stomper, because he did a double move. How far did it move?
24 inches.
Blimey, it was like greased lightning, that Stomper.
It was a flying kick coming into the knight's face. The main thing is, I won the initiative roll off.
You did, yeah.
But I was unsure because I knew Mephiston was there, and I kind of wanted you to go first though, because I wanted to see Mephiston come out into play.
Because I was inside the Land Raider with Mephiston and all the Death Company.
And then so I did shooting to start with there.
Yeah.
These guns.
I think the initiative is really interesting. The way that you have to wait for the opponent to move to get them into a position that you want them to be in.
Yeah.
But then you're back and forthing because if you can engage shooting units before they get to shoot, they then don't get to shoot. Or if you can get into assault with a unit you want to protect, it then can't be shot at. So there's a real nice balance with the initiative.
So, I mean, I did
moving first.
So I used my shooting unit first. I did a blast mark on the small flyer again. A big one, but you made the save, which was fine. These did nothing. And then thinking, great, you might go with Mephiston or do an assault to make the move, because I had lots of cards to play this turn.
Yeah, you did.
Which we'll come to also when we get to combat. But then you did your shooting, so I was still then left with, I know what I want to do, but what do I do, sort of thing.
So we go around the table. So down here, Nick moved his stomp around. He did a bit of damage to my knight, but I used the rotate iron shields card, which protected it a bit. And then after damage and stuff, he's now taken half, which is bad because I get -1 to hit with my heavy weapons. Yeah. But he's still got a couple of wounds left, so he's fine. I deep struck in my Sanguinary Guard. My Mephiston and the Death Company got out and charged over here and assaulted Nick's trucks and things. I couldn't get much other than the Sanguinary Guard, who are tough but not deadly, over with these two bikes. I hadn't hurt them, but locked them in combat, stopped them from shooting. But then Nick, your guy, what did he do back?
Well,
Nick's boss down here, who I killed him, but...
You killed him, and then my fight back. Basically, I was sitting on a load of cards going, well, I'm going to die, but I'm going to go out.
Yeah.
So I played a card, basically, called Finest Hour.
Which was absurd.
Basically, it gave him an extra attack, so he had 3 attacks. It gave him +2 to wound, as well. So it was 3 attacks hitting on 2s. I missed one of my attacks, so I played a card to re-roll my to hit.
Yeah.
So I hit with all 3 attacks. I rolled, it was 6 pluses to wound. I failed with 1 to wound. So I play a card to re-roll my wounds.
Yep.
I did 3 wounds to Mephiston, basically.
And they were destroyer attacks from that card as well, meaning they do 2 damage each, meaning you put a large blast down.
So it's 3 large blasts on Mephiston.
Now Mephiston is pretty tough. He automatically removes a Blastmaster from himself. In the damage phase, which I did. I played a Telekine Dome card, which meant I always rolled d12s for my saves, even against large blasts. But then I failed one of those. But then he has a Feel No Pain 6-up, which I tried to pass but failed. So Mephiston was dead. So Nick gets d3 extra cards this turn because he's killed my Warlord. Yeah. But we'll do those shortly. So I had killed Nick's... war truck guy down here.
Yeah.
Over here, my 2 flyers, because they didn't want to be...
Yeah, and everything down there as well. Death Copters did a wound. And
Death Company took a damage from the Death Copters, who were also dying, and then they failed their morale with a double 6 on their Space Marine leadership check, so took another wound. The flyers moved over here, opened fire, and with morale managed to take out one of those. These things are surprisingly hard to kill, but luckily this flyer Nick had done a large blast to, but I needed a 6-up save, which I passed. So they're both still rocking and rolling. Other things that happened.
Terminators came down.
Terminators came down.
Here, and you assaulted in when you did.
Yes, so my Terminators deep struck in there. They were out of command, but I didn't expect them to live. I was basically putting them there to block all of Nick's stuff up there.
Block the battle whack in advance, basically.
Yeah, that's it. So all of this stuff over here mainly fired and took out the 2 battle wagons that were there.
Yeah, blast marker
and tried to kill the other, but now the innards are out. Now it's dangerous again.
Yeah, basically because of the Terminators, Gazgul and the Knobs got out. The 2 battle wagons, which 2 that have gone. Mega Knobs are still in this one. So yeah, they're out and about on foot now.
Yep. But they murderized me, didn't they? Put loads of damage on.
I played another card which gave me another couple of blast markers as well, which I didn't actually need on the Terminators in the end with your bad rolling for them. But
that was about it, wasn't it? And that turn was much faster as well because we now know the rules. We've remembered some of our unit stats. It breezed by. When you get to know this game, you can see that it really will move fast.
It might be worth asking on the video for the rules because we're not sure. We've removed some Death Company models because obviously the 2 wounds.
So Death Company get 1 wound per 5 models. So just for thematic sake, they've taken 2 wounds now. So I've removed 10 of their models. Haven't properly checked through the book, but I'm not sure you're supposed to do that. You still use the stats of a 15 model unit, but they're a wounded 15 model unit, so they have less attacks. But let us know what you think down there. They may well have answered it in the book and we just missed it. Okay, the other thing to say is Nick is winning at this point because he has got a victory point this turn. So
2 objectives.
We both have a unit within 6 inches down here. We didn't realise it was 6 inches for an objective. So Nick has this one.
Usual 3 from 40K.
My flyers don't score that one. Nick scores the one over there, even though I thought I'd taken him off of it, but it's a 6 inches. And he also has this one down here because I'm just outside of 6 inches. So I need to do some manoeuvring around on my turn to make sure I get some objectives. Okay, let's see what happens. You join us at the end of turn 3. So what happened now? We lost a load of units on the tables. Let's go round again. So first of all, the knight here, it is gone.
Got death rolled.
You got death rolled in the end. It took damage from all your big guns.
Oh, my big guns, yeah.
Those things are death on with floaty bases.
Yeah.
So they did enough damage to that it took out, but it didn't explode. But it moved up the field and it put wounds on Gazgul and the Mega Nob. So both of them have taken wounds. Gazgul managed to stay alive. I fired all of my fire base over here. They helped put wounds on Gazgul and the Mega Nob, so pretty tough.
Yeah.
They also fired and took out the remaining tractor cannon over there with their las cannons. Yeah. And they put the wound on that killed the battle wagon.
Yeah, and then the battle wagon, when it destroyed, it put a wound on the Mega Nobs.
Put the Mega Nobs down there, but they still held that objective. At the end of this turn, we each held 2 objectives, so nobody scored a point.
So I'm still 1-0 up.
Over here, I kind of spread out and made sure I had 3 units within range of the objective.
I tried a sneaky plan over there.
Yeah, you tried to teleport out, didn't you?
Yeah, because the Dragster, it's still got its teleporty thing there. It has normal 40k. So if it makes a move action, so I attempted to fall back, I can roll a d6 on a 5+, I can teleport. So and set up deep striking. So
and you wanted to grab that far objective, which is a great plan.
I was hoping to teleport over there, basically, because it would have been fine. You wouldn't have been able to shoot at me so much, and I would have been out of combat. You would have had that objective, I would have had that over there.
Yeah, so I've got this objective, but unfortunately, I'd expected to do a bit more damage in combat. I'm really struggling to kill these 2 dragsters, and they're just not going down, meaning I've got 3 good units over here that aren't doing anything particularly important other than stopping 2 dragsters firing. Over here, we flew over here and peppered down at these big guns. And the big guns, I just can't kill them for love nor money. I fired like 6 las cannons at them and did nothing. And over there, you just consolidated forwards with all your orcs, didn't you? You lost your normal nobs to shooting from my. You
shot them a lot. Yeah, you shot a lot there. So you shot the nob with the war banner because they've only got 8+ saves. So you did 1 wound to him, a d12 and an 8+ save. You took the risk, killed him, and then the other nobs went.
That's it. And I think that is end of the turn. I think there's anything else that happened.
No, that's it. Really, it's very
okay. We reckon we might be done next turn. I think there could be enough death. We'll see. Okay, you join us at the end of turn 4 and the end of the game. So, what happened this turn? Nick's Mega Nobs, I think their main issue this game has been their speed, hasn't it?
Yes, obviously the battle wagons, you blocked the battle wagons so they didn't get across.
Yep.
And then they died and there.
You got into combat with me, but the Land Raider is very tough.
Yeah, unfortunately these Mega Nobs couldn't quite make it down to Vindicator.
No.
There was an inch too short.
You were an inch short, and if you'd done that, that would have been big, because this Vindicator managed to get line of sight over to a unit that Nick brought in from reserve using his card. He had to roll a d12, was it?
And if it's basically beats, I choose a unit that's already been destroyed from the game. That's not a character.
Yep.
Roll a d12. If it's more than its power level, I get that unit back.
So you put one of your big guns over there because you wanted to guarantee a unit.
Yeah, I guarantee it's 2 power levels.
Came on the objective, so I had to kill it, but I went all out. I fired this thing, which fired a destroyer shot at it, and I also fired my Storm Raven over there at it. But this turn, just stuff went a bit wrong for you, didn't it? I managed to kill all of your big guns.
Yeah, I mean, these went into hover mode, so you got the objective there, so you've put enough fire down on them that they were going to go.
And over here, both the Dragsters, they failed all their saves, and I managed to get wounds on.
I tried the same thing again with the Dragsters. It's a 5.
Failed again,
it's a 5+ on a d6, so it's not likely to happen.
But it'd have been really good, because if you'd have made it, I wouldn't have been in combat with you, so you'd have had another objective, and I wouldn't have scored.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so we have called the game at that because Nick because Gazgul unfortunately bit a bullet as well. I fired at him. I think it was actually the twin plasma gun on top of my Primaris Rhino that did it.
It was a 3+ with a d6 and I rolled a 2. So.
Yeah, that's it. It's a Marine save. But he's got those 2 units left. These Nobs have got 1 wound left. Yeah. And I've still got my 3 tanks back here. Land Raider there, Vindicator here, Land Raider there, but most importantly, I've got my 2 flyers who have been boss all game, just floating around killing stuff. I concentrate on. That one.
Small one.
Nick, we haven't seen if that's destroyed. That may not be on the table. No. I keep on making it save.
What about the morale though?
Oh yeah, morale. Morale is a really interesting phase in this game. Oh, luckily it's a Marine. It gets to re-roll. It's okay. Because he's taken 1 blast, he's rolled a 4, gets +1, it's a 5, he has that in leadership. Okay, so let's have a quick discussion of what we thought. So, what did you reckon, mate? First game of Apocalypse with the new rules?
Yeah, it's good. It's sped up again as towards obviously second, third. This term was really quick. First term was very much.
Yeah, the first turn, I reckon, took half the game.
Yeah,
because
the rule book for
every rule book, every question we had to look at the rules and stuff. But by the end, I felt reasonably comfortable. I've learnt the stats of a las cannon. I know the stats of my close combat dudes.
Yeah, I generally knew. I was just checking in the book, but I generally knew. Oh, that's got a shot. This has got 2 shots. This.
That's it. Made it much quicker.
It's just remembering.
And the turns flow by. I think in our big game. So we're doing we mentioned earlier the big game we're going to be playing, which is 3 people aside.
And we're going 250 points each. Where this is 175.
I'm thinking that might be too many. We'll have a discussion afterwards about that.
Obviously, the armies we're taking are
are part of our, because we thought there's no point learning units that we're not going to be using in the bigger game.
I've only got 2 extra units to actually add in because a Stomper is 49 power.
Yeah, that's it.
So where we took 75 off of this game, a Stomper was basically 50 points.
But that was a good and interesting game, and that's
the super heavies worked really well. They weren't.
Yeah. I think those armies. So we were playing 175 pound. I think they're probably a bit bigger than a 2,000 point. Yeah, definitely bigger than a 2,000 point 2,000 point 40k army.
The Stomp was about 800.
But they played well on this size table.
Yeah.
I reckon now we know the rules. That game would have whipped by if we knew the rules.
Yeah.
Really good fun. Really interesting tactical thing. The initiative is the most tactical phase, choosing what to do when. Yeah. Because you need certain times you're sitting there going, please Nick. Please do that unit next. Please do. And then he does it and you're like, yes.
I want you to do that. Yeah. The cards have a bit of an impact, but they're not game swinging.
Yeah, I thought they might be more powerful than they were, but they were quite powerful. When you played one, it was important.
Most of them were, most of the ones that you played were reroll to hit, reroll to wound. The most powerful stuff I had was the War Tribe.
Yeah, that was amazing. And my Orbital Bombardment put a few wounds on at the start of the game, which was good.
There we go.
I really wanted to deal with the I really enjoyed using models that we don't usually use. Like
those Land Raiders.
The Land Raiders are super tough.
Yeah. They
got wounds, they got 4-up save, they got loads of firepower.
Well, when I started playing 40k again, back in, I can't remember what edition it was.
Well, this model,
4th, 5th?
I bought when I restarted playing in 4th edition. I got in a deal with a Predator on eBay. And I think I've used it maybe twice before now. So this is one I've been slowly converting. You see, I've made a grav cannon for the front of it, and I made a radar dish to make it look like a command vehicle. But yeah, really liked it.
My mech guns, I'm happy with.
Those mech guns are amazing. 2 power they cost.
2 power for each one. So
tough and deadly.
Was 6 power. The smasher ones were really good for vehicles. It's 4+ to hit, 5+ to wound on a vehicle. The anti-air ones, 3+ to wound a vehicle. So very good. Obviously, they were deadly for your flyers.
Infantry is an interesting thing. Yeah. Like your mega knobs are tough and deadly, but they're not fast.
No.
Whereas these things are tough and super fast, but they're not at all deadly. It took them 3 turns to kill a blooming 2 wound little trike.
I mean, the mega knobs got the same move as in a normal game, 4-inch move, so they can do a double move, 8 inches, but you've got to be touching a base to do the fight. If you're not touching the base... But
touching a base is so powerful because it stops the unit firing before they get to fire.
Well, that's what turn 4, I moved in first. I won initiative again. So I moved in and went into combat here with you. Obviously, I was hoping to take out the Vindicator, or get into combat with the Vindicator to stop a lot of your shooting.
Yeah, because the Vindicator, this is... it's not a Forge World model, it's my own creation of the Forge World model. It's got Destroyer weapon, which does 2 wounds per damage.
And the Destroyer means you put a large blast on, not a small blast?
Yeah. So, you put 1 large blast on instead of a small, or you deal 2 damage. It's kind of a weird way of wording how it happens.
Yeah, and basically the difference between the blast, I'm not sure if we went through it beforehand. If you get... For a small blast, your save is a D12.
Yeah.
For a large blast, your save is a D6. So stuff like... my normal knobs, for instance, have an 8+ save. So if there's a large blast, they don't get a saving throw.
That's it. So if you want to kill them, you stick some large blasts. Really, I found it really tactically interesting. I think Mark's going to really enjoy this.
Yeah.
I think he's going to like the to and fro of it. I really like that every unit gets to do something before it's dead.
Yeah.
Because how many times have I played my Sakaran battle tank and it gets destroyed before it's even used? My mate Jim did it at a shop the other week. I thought I'd take it for that game. No, the first thing he did that game was fired his annihilation barge at it. Bang, it goes. Never gets to fire.
Unless he's playing Orks or Khorne, because I can't get in combat with it.
Okay, well, we're definitely going to be videoing our big game that we play.
Which is in about 2 weeks.
Yeah,
roughly,
2
which is
weeks
probably our
from
next
now.
Video, so.
Yeah, probably our next video because we don't get to record them that often. But yeah, that was a really successful game, really interesting game.
Yeah.
You'll definitely see a bit more of that on the channel. I think Si's going to love it because he's got loads of giant models that he never uses.
He can start, because obviously Simon here, obviously when he comes in, he's got his Necron artillery pieces.
Yeah, he's got a Necron pylon and he's got the big...
He's got the big pylon, he's got about 3 or 4
Yeah, so
Si's
Si's going to really like that.
He's got the...
he's got a full knight army. He's got 4 different knights, I think. So, yeah, he's got loads of stuff. He's going to love this.
Yeah.
So it's just a really...
all the knights, Lord of Skulls... he's got lots of super heavies.
So if you've got a load of 40k models, like most people have, this rule set is not hugely expensive. You get quite a lot in the box for the money. You get all the cards, you get a load of dice, you get the rule book. I think it might retail at 50. So that means you can buy it at 37.50 if you find a really good discount. But you get all the cards in there. Yeah. So, I mean, to be honest, buying the amount of D12s you need for this isn't the cheapest thing in the world. Yeah. But you mainly get your rule book and you mainly get all the counters, and the counters are necessary. You could make your own, but that's a ball ache, isn't it?
Yeah. So obviously you got the 2 boxes of counters.
Yeah. So I bought these boxes. They were like £1 in Poundland.
Of all these counters, what you get in the
Yeah, so you get all of these counters. So you get plenty for both sides. So I made these counter boxes so each side could have them. So you've got orders in the middle, you've got your small and your large blasts, then you've got your out of command and commander things, and then you've got your damage tokens.
Yeah.
The out of command didn't really come in. I think...
No,
I think the game does a really good job of encouraging, shall we say, that you keep your detachments together, just because it makes play so much easier.
That's one of the things I liked as well with, I'm activating this detachment, so it's, I activate my 2 units of Meganobs, Gaskell. I'm acting 3 or 4 units in one go.
But because the game encourages you to stay close together, you know they're all around there.
I mean, I had that turn, I was right, I've got battle wagon, did I bring around here, okay, the objective, would I be within 12 of Gaskell to
that's
get
it.
Command? Because if the outer command was, if you have a wound, you can be routed, it can be gone, basically.
Yeah, that's it. So if something's out of command, shoot it and it dies.
Yeah.
Basically, get a damage token on it, a blast marker on it, and it's a dead one.
Yes.
Okay, well, we shall see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.